What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well. Has had a nice week so far. I'm G. This is player to be named later. Let's get into some Raptors talk. They're taking on the Mavs tonight. Took a relatively big L the other night against OKC, but we all know OKC is a juggernaut. SGA is doing his thing, man. He's really balling out, and they're looking good. They have their system. They're committed to it, and it really starts on the defensive end. But I want to, talk about them a little bit. Talk about some comparisons and why, I keep harking on this thing about the Raptors being in such a good position, even though their record might not indicate that right now. The future of this team really looks good, and if you do a side-by-side comparison with what's going on in OKC, the Raptor fans, that fraction who might be on the negative side of things and really taking things on a game-to-game, possession-by-possession basis, guys like Scotty and RJ and Grady, we need to keep that negative energy away from the team, man, because this team has a bright future ahead. And I think when you really look at both rosters, you can see that. The other thing I want to touch on based on that is Masai just doesn't get enough credit either, if you ask me, for what he's done for this organization, this city, country, for basketball in Africa and globally. The fact that, again, there's a fraction of the fan base and media that's always questioning what he's done here. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the last one, obviously, to win a major championship here. Brendan Shanahan hasn't done that in 10 years. He seems to be getting a pass every year. Oh, the Leafs are going to do it. The Leafs are going to do it. Pass. Shapiro and Atkins, same thing. Here for a decade. I don't know how they're still here. Congratulations. You did a building renovation for the Taylor Swifties and to charge Jays fans more money. So listen, Masai Ujiri, every Raptor fan should be thankful and grateful for this man, him and Bobby Webster, and then their entire staff, because no matter what's happened with the Raptors in the last year, in one season he's shown what his entire tenure has been about. And that's believing in his vision, believing in his development, believing in his staff, and the development of his players between the team and 905. If you look at his executive tree, you think of Mark Eversley in Chicago. Well, look what's going on in Orlando. Dan Weltman was here for 4 or 5 seasons when Masai was here. And you look at that Magic team right now and what they're doing, that comes, a lot of that is what he learned under Masai. Masai, from this Raptor fan, we're really glad that you're here and what you've done for this organization. I applaud you, and you'll always have a free pass from me, man. So anyways, if you look at OKC, obviously they have Shea, Jalen Williams, Chet, they have Lou Dort, unbelievable on defense, Isaiah Joe, they've added Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein this year. But if you really look at the roster, obviously SGA is a different, totally on a different planet, averaging 29, 30 basically, 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. But he just obviously, numbers are one thing. Like I said, for me, it's always the eye test and the feeling and just the vibes of a player. Shout out to everyone who's into the analytics, but with me, I really don't look at that stuff. You look at SGA, the numbers speak for themselves. He's about controlling the game. He's on his own kind of vibe out there. You want to talk about players who could play in a lot of eras. He's one guy who definitely can. I've seen basketball from the 80s right through until now. SGA could fit into a lot of decades because in eras of basketball, because of how he controls his game, can play at different speeds, but also fit into the tempo of any game. So when you compare that to a guy like Scotty, we're really starting to see that with Scotty this year, and he's starting to develop more of a point guard mentality and controlling what happens on the offense and kind of feeding the energy and feeding the other guys. So Him and RJ have been great together. We saw him and Grady briefly in preseason. I think there was one game where they both went off for 30 and they look great together. Like Scotty's coming into that kind of role where, the SGA role where he plays at his own tempo, can figure out when to attack and uses crazy athletic ability. You're starting to see the 3-point shot become more of a thing for Scotty too, but also just controlling what happens with the entire operation. Then that brings me to before RJ and Grady and Yak, actually brings me to IQ. And I think this is actually a good thing for IQ. Like, you look at a guy like Isaiah Joe, he's only averaging, not only, but he averages 10 points a game. But they give him a lot of freedom to be creative. And I think that's where IQ comes in. Instead of maybe being the one to run the team from a point guard mentality, you actually let him play out with his creativity. So that could be, running the fast break or just pulling up from three, but or pulling up for one of his teardrops or floaters. Like I think you open IQ up for a whole different side of his ball game, and we've seen that kind of with RJ, right? So this feeds into RJ now. You look at a guy like Jalen Williams, what he's able to do. RJ has those same talents, and it's being unlocked under Darko's system. Offensively, like there's so many similarities here, right? So between Scotty and Shea and Isaiah Joe and IQ, RJ and Jalen, there's a lot there where you can kind of see offensively where guys can pick their spots. RJ's great from three, but also getting to the rim, man. Like the Raptors, I love Pascal and OG, and obviously Kyle is the GOAT. But during that era, once DeMar left, even with Kawhi, like getting to the rim, like it just seemed like such a task. Like it was so cringeworthy at times, right? Like guys didn't have the handle, or OG struggling, like almost looking like he would fall down on every drive. Pascal and again, I love these guys, but at times that's what it was like, right? But it seems like with RJ, he's so under control most of the time. There's going to be times where he has his spots where it looks ugly, but he has the handle. He knows how to get to the rim and actually finish at the rim, and I think that's a big thing. And he can shoot the three and hit the mid range. So when you look at again a guy like Jalen Williams and what they're able to do with him in OKC, again that's a big thing. Jalen Williams, by the way, averaging 21, 6, and 5. RJ is averaging 23, 7, and 6. So again, the Raptors, the only team with two guys averaging 26 and 6. And it's your two main guys, Scotty and RJ. Like, these things can't be denied. Maybe the American media isn't catching up, but I also feel like it's kind of going under the radar here. So another guy to kind of compare is, obviously the games are different, but Chet is a big presence inside for OKC, but he has that offensive game that. He can hit the three, he can do different things, but Yak could do a lot of different things from that pick and roll. His push shot is unmatched. He has a great feel around the rim. His footwork is unreal, so he knows how to kind of dance in the paint and like get to the rim and get off his push shot when he needs to. He has a lot of games where he gets to the rim and gets rebounds, good tips, good touch around the rim. So Yak gets it done also. And again, he's another one who I feel like his offensive is getting unlocked under Darko's system. And Yak is up there, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 2.5 assists. You look at Chet's at 16.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2 assists. So the numbers are the numbers, man. And again, this is going to come down to one thing: defense, right? Look at a guy like Lou Dort, what he's doing on the defensive end and can hit the three. We have Ochai. Ochai, and actually between Ochai and JMO, Jonathan Mobile, again, the talent, kind of what they do on offense is similar. They can hit the three, get to the rim. I actually like JMO can, he's a big body, he's taller, he has some good hands around the rim. Also, can finish in the mid range, kind of different from Lou Dort. And we haven't even gotten to Grady yet. This has been a breakout season for Grady. The injuries kind of suck right now, obviously, but when he gets back and gets healthy, you look like at a guy like Grady, and OKC doesn't even have that. You could talk about what Aaron Wiggins does, Cason Wallace, but really they don't have a Grady on their team. And Grady hasn't been that bad on defense this year. I think he's it from what it looks like. It looks like the Raptors, the coaching staff has probably talked to him about his defense because to me his intensity's picked up. He's jumping for the loose ball. He's getting in guys' faces. Maybe he's working with off night Davion Mitchell, and kind of picking up some things on the defensive end. Obviously, with Ochai hitting the corner threes, huge. He can finish at the rim and is explosive. So again, what it's going to come down to now is defense. And the Raptors, what it is right now is obviously turnovers are hurting them. So transition defense is a problem. Also, they need a little bit of a better defensive scheme. But that's always the toughest thing, obviously, with the NBA. And then their aggressiveness. They foul a lot. They obviously go for steals because they're quick, they're athletic, they want to get out on the break, which they're great in transition.